All right, so the House just barely dodged a shutdown, but things are about to get even more interesting.
Yeah.
We're diving deep into this whole battle over the speakership.
Yep.
Who has the power and who might end up with it next?
Exactly.
You sent me a Reddit thread that's blowing up about this in this article from The Hill.
Yep.
Let's unpack it all.
It's a lot more than keeping the government running.
Right.
It's really about who has control over the House,
Yeah.
what laws they pass, and really who shapes the agenda for the coming years.
Exactly. And before we get to names like Elon Musk, yes, you heard that right.
Yeah.
Let's start with some basics.
Sure.
How important is the Speaker of the House?
Yeah.
What kind of power are we talking here?
Well, it's a position that comes with a whole lot of influence.
Okay.
Think about it. The Speaker sets the agenda for the entire House,
Okay.
decides which bills are going to go up for debate,
Mm-hmm.
and really has a huge say in what ultimately becomes law.
So they're basically running the show over there.
Pretty much. And here's the big thing. They're also second in line to the presidency right after the VP.
Second in line.
Yeah.
Whoa. That adds a whole other layer to this.
Yeah.
Now, one comment on this Reddit thread you sent me
Right.
claims that the Speaker's seat could actually stay empty for 2 years.
Wow.
Is that even possible? And what would that mean for the government?
Well, that's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
Historically, there's never been a speaker vacancy that's lasted that long.
Okay.
The House has always figured out a way to elect somebody,
Mm-hmm.
even if it takes a bunch of rounds of voting.
Yeah.
But we're in uncharted waters right now, so who knows?
So no speaker. Does that mean the government just like stops?
Well, not completely.
Okay.
The House can function to some degree without a speaker,
Okay.
but it's kind of like trying to ride a bike with no handlebars.
Okay.
You might be able to move a little,
Right.
but you're not going to get very far,
Uh-huh.
and you're probably going to crash.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Mike Johnson, the current speaker.
Sure.
From what I'm reading, he barely got the job in the first place,
Right.
and his future's looking pretty shaky.
Yeah, it is.
Hakeem Jeffries, the House Democratic leader,
Mm-hmm.
even said there will be no Democrats available to save him.
Wow.
What led to all this?
Well, remember that near shutdown a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
Johnson really got caught in the middle of this political battle.
Uh-huh.
He'd negotiated this bipartisan spending deal,
Right.
but then President-elect Trump spoke out against it.
Yeah, right.
And so to avoid a shutdown, Johnson had to ditch the deal
Wow.
and then scramble to get enough votes.
Hey.
And he mostly relied on his fellow Republicans to do that.
So he basically angered the Democrats by siding with his own party.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, you're on your own.
Pretty much they felt betrayed by Johnson's move to appease Trump
Yeah.
and the more extreme members of his own party.
Speaking of extremes,
Yeah.
the Reddit thread is full of comments about Johnson's lack of spine. One person even joked that he keeps forgetting where his spine is.
Ouch.
Is this perception of weakness putting his speakership at risk?
I think it definitely plays a role.
Okay.
Jeffries specifically called out extreme MAGA Republicans
Right.
as a source of instability.
Uh-huh.
You know, Johnson's under a lot of pressure from these groups like the Freedom Caucus,
Yeah.
who are known for being very hardline and
Uh-huh.
challenging leadership.
Yeah.
They aren't afraid to go up against him,
Yeah.
which makes his position very precarious.
So how does this all play out?
Well,
Some people on Reddit are wondering when the next speaker vote might even happen.
right.
What's the process and how long could all this uncertainty last?
Well, if Johnson loses support when they come back in January,
Okay.
the House will hold an election for a new speaker.
All right.
It's not a simple majority, though.
Okay.
A candidate needs to win a majority of all the votes that are cast.
Got it.
So this could lead to multiple rounds of voting, especially if there's no clear frontrunner right off the bat.
Right. Yeah.
We could be in for a long and messy battle.
All right. So we've got a speaker barely holding on,
Yeah.
a divided Republican Party,
Uh-huh.
and wait for it. Elon Musk's name is being thrown around as a potential candidate.
What?
You mentioned that earlier.
I know.
Honestly, that's the part I'm most curious about.
Right.
It sounds crazy.
It does. Yeah, it does a little bit. But the idea of Elon Musk as speaker is actually being discussed.
I know. I thought it was a joke when I first saw it,
Yeah.
trending online.
Yeah.
But you said Representative Johnson himself even brought up Musk's name.
That's right. He did. In a recent interview, Johnson kind of jokingly suggested Musk for the role.
Huh.
Now, whether he was serious or not, who knows?
Right.
but it's definitely got people talking.
Yeah, and the internet is having a field day with it.
Of course.
The comments you sent over range from Musk would be a disaster to this would be the most entertaining thing ever.
Right, and the interesting thing is, it's not actually impossible.
Really?
The Constitution doesn't say that the Speaker have to be a member of the House.
Wait, seriously? So anyone could be Speaker?
Theoretically, yes, although you might want to brush up on parliamentary procedure first.
Yeah, probably a good idea.
But this little constitutional quirk, it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
So let's imagine this actually happens.
Okay.
What would it mean for the House, for the government,
Right.
for the country, if Elon Musk became the Speaker of the House?
Well, first of all, it would be a huge shakeup in American politics.
I can imagine.
Right? A tech billionaire known for his unpredictable tweets and bold ideas.
Yeah.
Leading the House of Representatives.
Right.
It'd be unlike anything we've ever seen.
Definitely a recipe for chaos.
Yeah.
But what about the actual impact? I mean,
yeah.
Could he be a good speaker or would it just be all spectacle?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right.
On the one hand, Musk is this brilliant innovator, someone who really disrupts the status quo and challenges the way things are done. And, those qualities could be pretty valuable in a leader.
I mean, he's definitely not afraid to shake things up.
Right.
But could he actually get things done in the political arena?
Well, that's the other side of the coin.
Right.
Being Speaker takes more than just big ideas and charisma.
Yeah.
You need to have a deep understanding of how the legislative process works.
Right.
You need to be able to build consensus, be willing to compromise. And those are skills that Musk hasn't really shown in his business career.
So it's a mixed bag, to say the least.
Yeah.
And here's another thing.
Right.
Didn't Musk just become a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, he did.
Wouldn't that make him ineligible to be president?
You're right. He can't be president as a naturalized citizen.
Okay.
But remember, the Speaker is second in line.
Right.
So it creates this fascinating constitutional dilemma.
Yeah.
What happens if the person who's second in line can't actually take the top job?
So the line of succession would just skip over him.
Exactly. It'd go straight to the president pro tempore of the Senate.
Who's that?
Right now, it's Patty Murray.
Oh, wow.
It raises all sorts of questions about, the stability and continuity of our government.
Yeah, that's a really good point. This is getting really interesting.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder, does Elon Musk even want this job?
Right.
He's running Tesla, SpaceX, Twitter.
Yeah, he's a busy guy.
Does he really have the time or the desire to take on something as demanding as being the Speaker of the House?
Well, that's the big unknown, right?
Right.
Musk clearly likes challenges.
Yeah, he does.
He likes pushing boundaries.
Yeah.
So the idea of holding such a powerful position, it might be tempting to him.
He might be.
But, would he actually be willing to give up his other ventures?
Yeah.
Or at least delegate much of his control to take on this role?
It would be a huge commitment, but then again, this is Elon Musk we're talking about. Anything seems possible with him.
Right. You never know with him.
But even if Musk decides this isn't for him,
right,
the race for Speaker is still going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, it is.
There are other potential candidates out there.
Oh, yeah.
Some even more surprising than Musk.
I bet.
Some people are even suggesting a Democrat could actually become Speaker.
What?
Even with Republicans holding the majority in the House.
Wow.
Sounds crazy, but...
Yeah, it's a long shot for sure. But, stranger things have happened in politics.
A lot of those Reddit comments you sent me mentioned Hakeem Jeffries as a possible candidate,
right,
the Democratic leader.
Yeah, Jeffries, he's a skilled politician for sure.
Okay.
But for him to actually become Speaker, a few things would have to happen.
All right, so walk me through this. What would need to happen for a Democrat to become Speaker?
Okay.
With a Republican majority in the House?
Okay, well, first of all, the Republican Party would have to stay super divided.
Okay.
I'm talking a level of infighting
right,
that prevents them from getting behind any one candidate.
So basically, more of the chaos we've been seeing.
Exactly. The GOP would have to be so fractured
that
they couldn't even get a majority of their own members to agree on a speaker.
Okay, so GOP meltdown, got it. What's next?
Then you'd need some defections.
Okay.
Some Republicans would actually have to break ranks and vote for Jeffries.
Now, that would be something, but why would they do that?
Well, there are a few scenarios where this could actually happen.
Okay.
I think about it. Some moderate Republicans might be so disillusioned with the direction of their party that they'd be willing to cross the aisle and elect someone who's more centrist.
Someone they could actually work with.
Exactly. They might see Jeffries as a much better option than another hardline Republican.
Right.
And a lot of those Reddit comments you sent, they mentioned this very possibility
Yeah.
that a group of moderate Republicans
Right.
could band together to elect a speaker who's actually willing to compromise.
A moderate coup, they called it.
All right. Now, that would take some serious coordination
Yeah.
and a willingness to defy party leadership.
Yeah, a real act of rebellion. Is this realistic or just wishful thinking from the Reddit crowd?
It's tough to say for sure, you know. Compromise is pretty rare these days.
Yeah.
Especially in such a polarized political climate.
Especially within the GOP, it seems.
Yeah, that's true. But there are a few things that could make a moderate coup more likely.
Like what?
Well, if Johnson is ousted
Uh-huh.
and the Republican Party descends into even more chaos,
Right.
you know, those moderates might feel a growing sense of urgency to find a way out of the mess.
They might see it as the only option.
Exactly. Plus, if the Democrats are smart, they
Yeah.
could offer some pretty appealing concessions to those
Right.
moderate Republicans
Right.
in exchange for their support.
So it's a long shot, but not completely impossible?
Nope, that's politics for you.
All right.
This speaker race, it's going to be fascinating.
It really is.
And it really could impact the next few years.
Well, that's it. The speakership is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Johnson's on the ropes. Musk is a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And even a Democrat might have a chance.
It's a very fluid situation. We'll just have to see how it unfolds.
We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But I think the main takeaway
Yeah.
is that this whole fight, it's about a lot more than just who sits in that chair.
It really reflects these deep divisions in our government
Absolutely.
and the uncertainty of what comes next.
So what does all of this mean for you? Well, pay attention, because this power struggle,
Yeah.
it could impact everything, from the laws that are passed
Yeah.
to the future of our country.
It really could. And remember, this is just the beginning.
Right.
The next few months are going to be critical
Okay.
in shaping the political landscape.
One last thing to think about. If you could choose the next Speaker of the House,
Okay.
who would it be and why? Keep exploring this. Form your own conclusions.
Right.
And maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to predict how this whole political thriller ends.
Good luck with that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.